This video is going to talk about creating a bid. Quite often, companies that are doing commercial projects use estimation software, graphical software, that can import blueprints, they can do takeoffs, and then get quantities for all the different materials that are needed for the job. Once they obtain these quantities through this very sophisticated software, they oftentimes will export or put those products and quantities in an Excel file. Another common thing to do will be to create formulas to come up with different scenarios of what they should charge for these products and services so that they can then submit a proposal or a bid to the general contractor or the people that are accepting the bids. So this process is happening every day out there in the commercial world. One alternative to doing that would be to put that bid or proposal into QFloors and then create the proposal from there to submit to the contractor. So we're going to show you this alternative method of doing this. It's something that you may or may not want to do. It's not a have to. It's more of an optional thing, but we thought that we would just show you how it's done in case we have customers that would like to use this option. So the first thing you're going to do is hit the new button just like you always would in QFloors, and we're going to create a new sales order in here that will eventually become the bid or proposal that we're going to send. What all these fields mean are explained in other videos, but I'll just put a real simple one in here for right now. So the general contractor, I'm just going to use Bid2 as the general contractor. The project manager, I'm going to put in John Smith in this field here. You can put addresses, emails, cell phones. I'm not going to go into all that right now. Project name would go into this field right here. We're going to call this JCW Corporate Office. Okay. And then the document type, we're going to call this the original bid. Okay, like that. So once you've filled out all this top part up here, we're going to come down to the body of the sales order down here, and we're going to fill in some of these lines here. The very first line here at the top is called the scope of work. This must be entered for every line item on this proposal. It's used as we start to create bids and work orders and AIA reports. Is very important. Each one of these scope of works has to be unique. No two can be the same. So make them a little bit different, even if they're very similar. They've got to be unique. I've already written up one over here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this into my software here so I don't have to write it all out. Again, kind of make a little shortcut. So I have 1,000 square feet of this carpet, okay? Then we come down to the style and the color and all this of what the product actually is. Many times at this point, you don't know exactly what it is. So the whole idea of this bid right here is to get something down on paper that looks really good, that you can send off, that doesn't take a lot of time to create. So we're gonna put some shortcuts in here to get this bid out. One of them is we're not going to fill in the actual style color. We're just going to put a to be determined in here. And then it's 10,000 square feet. So we're going to put in 10,000, the quantity right here. Now at this point, if you know what the price should be that you're going to quote, you could put in the amount per square foot here. It might be like $2, right? And you can put that in and it will put a number out here. But more commonly, people usually want to do a markup of some kind, right? So that they're not just kind of guessing. And that's why they put it out to Excel and do some calculations in there. So it is possible just to write the amounts out here in the sides if you already know them. Or I'm going to show you an optional way of doing this by coming back and recalculating the price later on. So let's put in the labor here. Okay. By the way, all the details of how to fill out a sales order are in other videos too, so I'm kind of skipping through this and going a little bit fast. I'll put another scope of work in here really quick, some LVT. So I'll put my second scope of work in here, like this, TBD again. We'll put 5,000 in here this time. Okay. And then labor, let's just do square feet like here. And we will put in 5,000. So you can imagine that you would go down and keep putting in all the products and labor that go along with this job. There could be 50, 60, 70, 80 lines. Maybe it depends on how complicated it is. I'm just going to use 2 lines for right now. Once you get all of these quantities in here, the next thing that you would do is the job costing window right here that's in orange. You would fill out the costs that you know. So on this first one right here, I right click on this number right here. And as I right click, I will put in the cost that I know. So let's just put in $1 a square foot, which will come up to $10,000 total. On here. I know that the cost of my labor was automatically calculated at $4,500. I'm just going to leave that there like that. We have the LVT here. Let's put $2 in like this for the cost. Actually, let's do something different so the cost comes up a little bit different. Let's put in $3. Okay. And I can see I put the wrong labor in here, so I can always go back and correct this. Let's put the LVT labor in right here. And 5,000 square feet of this. I'm going to take this out for right now. And then this already has a cost in here, $1.50. We'll just leave that there the way it is for the labor. And so now we've got all of our costs in here. So the very first step was to get the quantities in, then come back and put the costs. Now I can come back and mark this up using formulas if I want to. So let's say that I want to mark the carpet up at 45%. I just put that in there. It shows me $1.82 is marked up from the dollar right here at 45%, right? Can do the same exact thing for the labor, okay? 82 cents. And then maybe on the LVT, I'm going to come down to 20, right? So I'm just putting prices in here to get some starting prices in. And I know that if I sell all this at these prices right now, it's going to come up at 40% for the job. I can manually adjust these prices. Let's say that I want to put this down to $1.50, right? Instead of up there. You can see that my margin went down as soon as I did that. Maybe I want this one to be $3. Okay, now I'm at 21%. You can see how we can just adjust this and kind of look and see where we're at. The other thing that you can do to get this in here is to hit the total button here and say, give me a price using gross margin for the whole proposal here, right? So when I do that, let's just say that this needs to be at 27%. It's going to change all of these prices right here so that this comes up to be 27%. This is a great feature. However, you'll notice that when I set this to 27%, all of the per unit prices were erased here. And the reason we have to do that is for rounding purposes to make this price come out evenly. So if you leave this price blank, it could cause some rounding issues later on in the project, which you can manually manipulate and change later on. But I would suggest if you have to use this feature that is setting the whole sales order to a specific percentage, then simply I would come back and recalculate the per unit price. So you take this number, the ending total, divide it by the quantity, and I know that this one would come up to $1.95, right? And if I put that in, it's going to, round this number a little bit differently. And the numbers down here are going to be calculated just a little bit, a couple of dollars differently. And if I do that for each one of these, that's going to happen. And you're still going to be very, very close to 27% here. Might be off by just a little bit once you put in all your prices. But if you have to use that feature, I would just come back and do this now. I'm going to leave the prices out just to show you in the future where the rounding could possibly be off and where you'll have to make some modifications later on. But just warning you about this right now. So the idea is to get it in here quickly and get it to where it needs to go and do as many of these as you can because only a few of them are going to be accepted.